Now, allow me to call upon our last paper presenter, Ms. Pattararat Suwanvatana, to the stage. Ms. Pattararat Suwanvatana is current coordinator of Dhammasami Foundation. She has been devoting in translating books and documents related to Buddhism and social movement. She has now translated 5 books from English to Thai. While organizing meditation courses and psychological and self-transforming courses, she is a part-time lecturer at Payap University. Miss, you have 45 minutes for your presentation, that including questions and answer sessions. Now the stage is yours.
Namaskar พระคุณเจ้า And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, I would like to say I feel very thankful that SSBU invited me to be here. I feel really honored to present about Ajahn Chah, the forest tradition of Ajahn Chah and the Western monasteries in his lineage here. The topic is quite long, actually. It was from my dissertation 8 years ago. The full title is The Western Monasteries Linked to the Thai Forest Tradition in the Lineage of Ajahn Chah, the division between the original Buddhism and the Thai tradition. And before I introduce you to Ajahn Chah, I have to inform you some terms that I am going to use in the presentation. First, the Western monasteries. Usually when I say Western monasteries, I refer to only monasteries that are related to Ajahn Chah lineage. And many people usually think about monasteries in the West, like in Europe, like in the UK or Switzerland or in Italy. But actually it also includes other countries like Canada, the States, New Zealand and Australia as well. Just an example. And it should be noted that Thai people usually refer to the monks by title in front of their name. And people often call the monks Ajahn, Ajahn. Ajahn is like Saya, it means the master or the teacher. And sometimes we refer to the monk หลวงพ่อ หลวงตา หลวงปู่ชา หลวงพ่อชา พ่อ means father. So when we say หลวงพ่อ we usually refer to the monks whose age are similar to our father. And when we say หลวงตา หลวงปู่ we refer to the monks whose age are similar to our grandfather. And it gives some intimacy in the titles. So let's start with the biography of Ajahn Chah. Ajahn Chah was born in the northeastern part of Thailand. This part of the country, many people in Thailand have prejudice that this part is financially poor, but actually spiritually very rich. Many great meditation masters comes from this part of the country. And Ajahn Chah was born here in Ubon Ratchathani. You can see the red part here on the map. And when he was a boy, he ordained as a novice first. And he studied some Buddhist teachings. But when he was 20 years old, he fully ordained. If we look at the biography of Ajahn Chah in Wat Nong Papong resorts, they say Ajahn Chah felt he wanted to develop his an understanding in the Dharma. But if you look in other sources, many people mention, oh, Ajahn Chah had this experience of heartbroken before he ordained, before Upasampata. But whatever reason, I don't know the fact, I just read many sources just to cross-check, but whatever reason, my focus was on his style of practice that emphasized on the strict monastic code that shape the life and meditation practice in the monastery and the unite or the conformity of the Vinaya in his monastery and branch monasteries in the West as well. And I would like to add some information about ordination in Thailand. Like he said, Dr. Shutipat said many people ordain in Thailand for their parents because we felt parents had sacrificed a lot for us, and one way, especially for males, to pay something back to their parents is to ordain. And parents in Thailand, usually they feel they can gain merits or bun when their sons ordain. And right now, many females ordain as well. And some additional points about ordination in Thailand. It's also a way to access to the education, because across the country there are different opportunities in accessing good education. So particularly in the countryside, people encourage their kids to ordain in order to access good education in the monasteries. Let's go back to the biography of Ajahn Chah. His first few years of his ordination, he learned the Pali language and the Pali text, which is very, very important in the Theravada country, because we believe that the teaching can be traced back to the Mahakassapa time and the 500 Arahant that recite the Dhamma and Vinaya together. And those Arahant saw the Buddha himself. So the Theravada tradition really placed importance on study the Pali language. And Ajahn Chah, his first few years, he studied the Pali language and basic Buddhist teaching. It's quite a pariyatti aspect, which is more academic aspect of the practice. But Ajahn Chah had the turning point. When his father died, he reflects on that, and he thought he knew some Pali and knew some basic teaching, but didn't seem to go nearer to the real essence of the Buddhist teaching. So finally, Ajahn Chah decided to leave the studies, leave the academic studies, and went on the pilgrimage. And he walked 400 kilometers to the central Thailand. And he only simply lived on the alms food that lay people gave him along the way. And he wandered through the forest where he could encounter tigers, cobras, and he could gradually develop his practice on that environment as well, because that kind of environment strengthened his practice. And he took up the residence where he carefully studied the monastic code. And he heard about Ajahn Man Purithatto, who was the greatest meditation master during that time. And Ajahn Chah wanted to meet Ajahn Man so much that he walked back to the northeastern part of Thailand. And finally, Ajahn Chah met Ajahn Man. And he spent a short period, but very enlightening period of time with him. And after that, for around 7 years, Ajahn Chah usually wander alone through the forest scene. He practiced on the cremation ground, or in the forest, or in the cave. And finally, he was asked to settle in the Grove Forest, very close to the village he was born. And gradually, lay people and monastic start to gather around him. And Wat Nong Pa Pong was finally established. Wat means the temple, so Pa Pong temple was established. And after that, for around a decade, there was a young American man who later became Ajahn Sumedho, came to see Ajahn Chah and asked him if he could practice with Ajahn Chah. During that time, Ajahn Sumedho ordained and practiced meditation by himself for a year in the Laotian border. And he met Phra Thammatut, whose name is Phra Samai. And he talked with this Phra Thammatut, and he was encouraged to see Ajahn Chah. And Ajahn Sumedho thought, yes, maybe I need some teacher who can teach me the aspect of the monastic life. So he finally see each other, see Ajahn Chah, and Ajahn Chah accepted Ajahn Sumedho as his disciple. But he said, no excuse of being the Westerner. You need to conform to the life here, live the simple life like others, live on the alms food like others. Ajahn Sumedho usually reflected on that many times he needed to do things that he didn't really want to do. And he started to complain in his mind, oh, what these people do was kind of stupid. I don't want to be in this monastery anymore. I'm angry with Ajahn Chah so much. It's in his mind. But he finally, Ajahn Sumedho, can take this as the meditation practice, because when he was angry towards something, he can be aware and develop the mindfulness concerning the emotions arising in his mind, or even when he had to sit at the meditation hall for a long time, he can observe his physical sufferings as well. And Ajahn Sumedho really trusts Ajahn Chah. He said that he believed many times Ajahn Chah done something purposely for him and other students to develop the patience, develop the endurance, and not attached to the tranquility or the peacefulness, and surrender to the way things are. And when Ajahn Sumedho was 5 years in his ordination, there are more and more Westerners who are interested in practicing the Dharma. So Ajahn Chah appointed Ajahn Sumedho to teach them as well. And finally, the International Forest Monastery has been established, and Ajahn Sumedho became the abbot of this monastery. And this monastery has the purpose of teaching English-speaking Westerners in the forest monastic code and Theravada Buddhism in the forest tradition of Ajahn Chah. You see there are a lot of Western students who follow the Ajahn Chah tradition, and they learned in this international forest monastery. What Ajahn Sumedho really impressed with Ajahn Chah is the style of Ajahn Chah that emphasized the strict Vinaya and the conformity or the community of the monastics, and the way it could shape the Dharma practice. Now you know that the International Forest Monastery has been established. After that, there are more and more Western students, and Ajahn Sumedho and Ajahn Chah in 1977 has been invited by the English Sangha Trust to the UK, to the United Kingdom, and 2 years later, the Chittavivek or Shithurst Buddhist monastery has been formed. And apart from that, many of Ajahn Chah's disciples are competent enough to go across the world to spread the Dharma. So you will see